Hello my beautiful collective, welcome to part 2 of my What is Tarot video. Okay, so without much further ado, let's just get straight into it. To recap, we looked at your 4 bodies. This would be your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. And I explained that these bodies are represented in the tarot by what we call suits. We have the suit of Pentacles, which is also referred to as the suit of Earth in modern day tarot. That represents your physical body. We have the suit of Cups, which represents your emotional body. The suit of Cups is also referred to as the suit of water, or the element of water rather. We have the suit of Swords, which represents your mental body, and that's represented by the element of air. And then we have the suit of Wands, which represents your spiritual body, and this is also interpreted or represented as the element of fire. Okay, so we looked at how numerology affects the message that comes through in relation to your 4 bodies. We looked at the 10 different numbers and their meanings and how they relate to your 4 bodies and what messages they're able to decipher regarding your 4 bodies, right? So what I forgot to mention with the numerology part is that as much as after you reach 10, you then read the numbers individually. So 11, you'd read it as 1 1, and 12, you'd read it as 1 2, maybe new connection, new relationship, something like that. You can also add those numbers together. If there is more than a single digit, you can add the digits together to get a single digit, and then that meaning would apply. Okay, it really depends on what the reader feels called to do. Okay, so today we are looking at the final part of the tarot, because we looked at, we also looked at the arcanas, because the tarot deck is divided into 2. In the first part, we looked at the major arcana, and we got into what they stand for and represent. They represent major life events and lessons. And then we looked at the minor arcana. The minor arcana consists of the suits in the numbers 1 to 10, and then they consist of the 4 characters, which then complete the minor arcana. So today we're going to look at the 4 characters that complete the minor arcana. All right, so before we get into these characters, know that firstly they are structured in such a way that they have a hierarchy attached to them. Okay, so the first character has a lower hierarchy than the final character. All right, so the way that I like to look at it is within a family setup. I think I made this example in the first part of this video. So within a family setup, you have the child, which then turns into a young adult, and then becomes a parent, and then becomes a grandparent. Okay, so we're going to continue that example. I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I think maybe I didn't, but that is how I look at the court cards, okay? And then that helps me to relay the messages that come through as I'm listening, as I'm hearing, as I'm seeing, as I'm tasting, and it correlates to my understanding of the court cards. So the youngest of the 4 characters is the page. Okay, so here we have the Page of Wands. So the pages are the youngest. All right, now looking at my interpretation in terms of a family setup, so the page would represent a very childlike energy. This is the child, remember? So we have the child, and then the wands, we mentioned that the wands represents your spiritual body. Okay, so this would represent a childlike spirit, right? A childlike spirit, a spirit of freedom. Think about children. Think about children. Children are very carefree. Children have no sense of responsibility. Children wear their hearts on their sleeves. That is the learning phase of all humans, the child stage, okay? So the Page of Wands would be a very childlike spirit, having an openness and willingness to learn. This would be represented by the Page of Wands. This is freedom. This is discovering what your soul is all about. What is your soul here to do? Discovering your spirit, okay? You know, what motivates you, what irritates you, things like that. All right, so those would be the pages. And in this case, we have the Page of Wands. So if we had the Page of Cups, remember the cups represents our emotional body. Okay, this is how we relate to one another in terms of connections, romantic connections, partnerships, things like that, our emotional connectedness to one another. So if we had the Page of Cups, this would talk about you being open to a connection and not letting past hurts and disappointments cause you to be resistant, keeping an open heart and allowing yourself to experience new love, maybe, for example. Okay, so it is all in relation to your four bodies and also what the character represents. All right, guys, I am so bored right now because my video wasn't recording. But anyways, okay, the next character is the Knight. All right, so here we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, so once you've moved from your child stage, you move on to your young adulthood stage. All right, so the Knights represent you taking the data that you've collected from your childhood stage where you were learning and now processing it into information through taking action. Okay, through actioning it, through putting it into practice. All right, so the Knights are the action takers of the tarot. So here we have the Knight of Cups, right? And the cups represent our emotional body. This is how we relate to one another, the connections that we make. This is how we process our emotions, right? So the Knight of Cups would talk about you taking action that feels right to you. Okay, what is your heart telling you? What is your intuition telling you? It would talk about you following your heart, so moving into your heart space rather than your mental space. Okay, what is your heart telling you to do? And it's very interesting because in today's society we have been conditioned to think that listening to your emotions and trusting your emotions and expressing your emotions is a form of weakness. There is no such thing. You are not weak by expressing your emotions at all. There is a lot of wisdom and a lot of freedom in us following what our heart is telling us to do, or rather going in the direction of our heart. Okay, there is a lot of wisdom in that. So, for example, the Knight of Wands. Okay, the Knight of Wands, remember wands represent our spiritual body. This is our connectedness to the divine, to the circle of life. Okay, so the Knight of Wands would talk about you taking inspired action. All right, this would talk about you following your ambition, your creative urges. All right, for example, and you know, trusting that creative side of you or relying on it more. Of course, depending on the context of the reading. All right, so the next character after the Knight are the Queens. I am trying to whiz through this video now because I was so long-winded before, only to find that it's not even recording. I struggle with so much saliva, and this is just something that came up after, during and after my pregnancy. But anyways, we have the Queens. Okay, the Queens are the character following the Knights, all right? And the Queens are all about that expansive, sharing, teaching energy because they represent the parents. Okay, so once you've taken action and you've gained experience, it is time for you to share what you know with the world, with others. It is time for you to share your experiences, your knowledge, the information that you've collected that is now refined. It's time for you to share it with others in order for them to have a better experience and in order for them to grow and evolve, right? So the Queen of Swords here, remember the swords represent our mental body. So these are our thoughts, our logic, our belief systems. So this would talk about sharing what you know, sharing knowledge literally. So teachers and lecturers, they would be represented by the Queen of Swords, okay? It's also about sharing your experiences and your opinion, which is very, very important, okay? Make sure that your thoughts are heard because they matter. What you think matters, your opinion matters. Unless it is in detriment to somebody else, then probably keep it to yourself. But you deserve to participate in the world, okay? Your voice needs to be heard, your opinion needs to be heard. you need to speak up, okay? It talks about you sharing your ideas as well and understanding that your ideas are relevant because you are contributing to the growth and evolution of humanity. All right, beautiful. And then, okay, another example I will make is the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles, the pentacles represent our physical body, which is also represented by the element of earth. So it would talk about growth and expansion on the physical plane or of your physical body, okay? Of the things that you can feel, see, touch, taste here in this plane of existence, okay? So growth in physical possessions and material wealth. You know, it would talk about things like investing in property. So it would also talk about you reproducing here in this physical plane, okay? Having babies and yeah, growing your family and things like that. So the queens are all about that growing, that expansive energy and sharing with others, okay? Birthing your ideas into the world and sharing them with others, having an opinion and not being afraid to voice it, okay, rather than internalize it. And then the final character here in tarot is the king. Yes, take me to the king. We have the king of pentacles in this case. Now the kings represent the grandparents, okay? And once you've moved from parenthood, now you are aging, you are reaching the end stage of your physical journey here on earth, right? So the kings represent the final conclusions, the end stages. So the King of Pentacles, remember the Pentacles talks about our physical body, that which we can see, touch, feel, taste. So the King of Pentacles would talk about old age. Firstly, it would talk about you finally achieving your material goals in terms of finances, in terms of property. It would talk about you having built a legacy. It would talk about retirement as well. Just having achieved, reaching the final stage with regards to your maybe financial endeavors, your physical endeavors, okay? So a more grim interpretation of the King of Pentacles, which is tough for me when it comes out and I'm doing a reading for a client, would be the end stage of, for example, cancer. Okay, with cancer in particular, it has 4 stages. So these characters would then tell me. So the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the Queen, and the King. Those would tell me which stage we're looking at or we're entering now, you know, things like that. Guys, umsebenzi kuba a tarot counselor, umsebenzi, because you are there to not only relay messages but to support and to counsel. So yeah, that would be the more grim interpretation of the King of Pentacles. It also talks about, especially with somebody who's had a very stubborn approach in life, it will talk about them having reached, like, that's just how they are. They're not going to change. This is it. This will never change. And nothing can be done here, okay? I'm just bringing that up because that is an interpretation that recently came up in a reading. This is an oracle deck. So after we read tarot, we usually go into oracle cards and other spiritual tools. And this just helps us to basically, it's almost like define the message, okay? And it also brings in additional messages and guidance and things like that. And your divine team will always be loving. Yes, they may be strict and stern and direct, but they will always be loving, okay? So encouraging messages are a definite, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle. I'm going to show you guys ukuthi kusetshenzwa kanjani la ekhaya. This is just an example, okay? This is my tarot deck. I'm going to shuffle a message from my tarot deck and from my oracle deck. Okay, so yeah, this is just an example, but I'm going to show you. Sorry, I'm just listening to the message that's coming through. So now we're just making an example reading, basically. Okay, wasn't talking to you. There you go. So you see, I shuffle the cards, they flip out. We have the 6 of Cups. So remember, if we go back to the numerology part of the video, 6 represents harmony, healing, recovery, reparation, restoration. And then we have the Cups, which represents the element of water, which is also our emotional body. Okay, so this would talk about harmony coming back into your love life. This would talk about apologies, reparation efforts coming through. This would talk about maybe you needing to take the necessary actions. So let's clarify that Six of Cups. Yes, so we have the Five of Pentacles that jumped out. Five, the number of change and conflict, and Pentacles represents our physical body, all right, and the element of earth. So in this context, the Five of Pentacles is talking about loneliness. It is talking about you feeling like you're left out in the cold, you wanting somebody to cuddle you, to hold you. So already I'm getting the message that maybe there may be somebody who has deserted you in a romantic relationship, maybe turned their back on you or ghosted you or something, but it is clarifying the Six of Cups. So this would tell me that love is returning, your soulmate is returning into your life. And I know that this is a soulmate because six tells me that. It tells me that the connection is harmonious, okay? I'm not sure if this is a twin flame. I would have to get additional information, but definitely somebody whose soul you resonate with. This is somebody who's returning. So this is definitely somebody who's hurt you, and this is somebody who would want to repair and heal the situation so that you come back into harmony again and the loneliness is concluded. So let's say I have pulled the entire spread of tarot cards. I would interpret the messages that come through, and then I would go into the extended version of the reading where I now look at the other spiritual tools, the oracle cards. I have a bunch here. I have the Book of Answers. I have my question answer pendulum. I have story dice. Listen, there is a bunch, okay? So then I would pull messages to clarify the reading of your tarot card. So in this case, let's pull a message to clarify this reading here. What is it talking about? I'm a bad shuffler. So we have expansion, right? We have the color blue, which is the color of the throat chakra. And the throat chakra is all about communication, authenticity, living your truth, expressing your opinion, not being afraid to share your ideas, okay? It is a very expressive energy, but it also has an element of truth and authenticity. Very, very heavy element of truth, okay? If you are not truthful, you will block your throat chakra. So very important for you to be truthful. So this already tells me that there is communication that is coming in within this setting of loneliness. So it already confirms the message of the Six of Cups to say that there is somebody who's returning to your life, a soulmate that did you dirty, they're coming back. You know, they're lonely just as much as you are lonely, and the loneliness has been concluded. We have expansion as the keyword on this card. So this tells me that this communication that is coming in is leading to you guys moving on from this situation, growing from this situation, and expanding from it. Moving on to a more fruitful and favorable phase is what I'm trying to say, okay? So this also can tell me that this reunion that you guys will have may lead to some safety time, and somebody's going to end up being pregnant, okay? Somebody's going to end up being pregnant, but I see you being in high spirits over it, you know, things like that. So also, the depictions on the card tell me a lot. We have Mother Earth there, she's pregnant, so that obviously tells me that pregnancy may result from this connection. I don't know who the purple lady is, the lady in purple, I don't know who she is, but I definitely see that there is the ancestor there. And for me, that's the important message. The ancestor is this blue guy with the owl on his head, okay? Because then this would tell me that your ancestors are in favor of this connection and they are protecting this connection, okay? For example. And then I was told to read the back of the decks after I shuffle. Istunga-san told me this in a dream. So we have wisdom, okay, and green, which is the color of the heart chakra. The heart chakra is all about, you know, love and compassion for others, okay? So this would tell me that love and compassion is coming back into your life. This person is coming back with so much love and compassion because they are wiser now. They've come into wisdom. They've realized the wrong of their actions, and you know, they are wiser, and they're going to communicate their truth with you. They're going to share their true feelings with you, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Here we have this old man. He also looks like an ancestor. He has a sage bundle there, which we call ipepo in my culture. So immaturity has been cleared, and you know, this person who's returning into your life is coming in with a lot of wisdom and clarity, and they now know that they are sure of this connection, you know, things like that. So an example reading. So then it happens that things like I always take the signs, guys. When cards fall out, I don't just take them and put them back in the pile. I don't. So I know that these fell out because this Tumia-san is telling me that they're doing this on purpose, because I said this is an example reading. Okay. They are doing this on purpose, and do you know why? Because they pulled two cards of the same chakra. Okay, this is the sacral chakra, the chakra of passion, reproduction, sexual, whatnot, sexy times. What I'm trying to say, I'm tired. We have passion and self-worth. So this card would tell me that passion is returning into your life. There's going to be a lot of love making and reproducing. We already saw with Mother Earth Day being pregnant. And then we have self-worth, which is also the color of the sacral chakra. And this tells me that they have come to a renewed sense of appreciation for you. Okay, there's also a lot of love and passion that they're coming forward with, or that they are returning with. At the back of the deck, we have the 10 of Swords, which here is represented as everything is fine. The 10 of Swords talks about tough, difficult, painful situations coming to an end. Okay, this is as bad as it gets. You've hit rock bottom, and things can only improve from here, because the only way from rock bottom is up. So the situation is moving into a more lighter, positive energy. There is a reunion, and the worst is over. The pain is over. You're moving past it. You're expanding past it. Okay, so this is what a typical reading would look like. Obviously, it would be more intricate than this, but this is just an example for you guys. Okay, guys, remember in the What is Tarot video part 1, I mentioned to you that it's very important ukuthi nithole psychic tarot readers rather than find a tarot reader who just reads tarot because they're interested in it and they have no psychic connection to the divine and to the cards. Because if you book a reading with somebody who's not psychic, they will give you the meaning of the card, not the interpretation regarding what is going on with you. Okay, what is going on in the energy of your full body. So it's very important to book someone who has a psychic connection. And this recently came up, Uti. Tarot is not African. It doesn't apply to Africans. I will have you know that I am African, truly African, proud of my Africanness. I'm African both ways, from my mother's side and my father's side. Okay, I'm an African Xhosa woman from the Eastern Cape. That is where I originate from, at least as far back as I can date it. I grew up in KZN, KwaZulu, Natal, KwaZulu. So I'm very African, and I'm very proud of my origins. Okay, I will have you know also, Uguti Istunga-san is very African. And they showed me these cards in order for me to interpret and relay the messages that come through from the divine realms to you guys, okay? Because we are the helpers and healers of people, all right? So Africans evolve, guys. Our African ancestors grow and evolve. How can you think they don't when you are here growing and evolving? Are you not growing? Or like, is it something I don't know? Are you not growing? You're growing, right? So how do you think you can grow and evolve and they can't? Does not make sense. When they facilitate your life here on earth, of course they grow, of course they evolve. Of course, they are tapped into so much divine wisdom and downloads and insights. And there is no way that you can think you're smarter than them. There is no way. So for you to say that tarot is not African is a misinterpretation, because tarot is not specific to culture. It is not specific to religion. Listen, it is a gift from the divine, and it applies to every soul that is experiencing a physical journey here on this plane of existence, here on earth. It is for everybody. Back in the day, our African ancestors used to use bones and stones and gems and, trinkets, things that they would collect from the earth, and they would use that to gather messages from the divine. Tarot is a modern interpretation of that. Okay, when I shuffle guys, okay, and all these spiritual tools that I've added, they help to bring in more information, because the divine communicates in whichever which way they please. Okay, they communicate in numbers, images, song. They communicate in whichever which way, in messages. So you cannot say that tarot is not African. Okay, tarot is very much African, as it is Caucasian, as it is whatever religious or cultural affiliation you associate yourself with. Okay, don't be fooled by people who say things like that, because they will keep you from living your best life and from really, really aligning with your purpose and living a fulfilling life in general. Okay, very, very important. Okay, so tarot is not religion, culture, tribe specific. It is spirit specific. Okay, all right guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you find this video helpful and enlightening. If ever you come across a tarot reading and you have no idea what is going on, I hope that you stumble upon this video, and I know that you will. I know that you will. And hopefully it gives you a clearer understanding of what this entire process entails, what it is all about, how we as psychic tarot readers and counselors are able to get messages from these cards as well. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram has been hacked, so now I have a new Instagram page. Is it a page or a pro? I don't know what you call it. At Love Being Pretty Tarot. You can follow me there if you feel like doing so. I'm also on TikTok filming a bunch of spiritual videos, so you can join me over there as well at Love Being Pretty. Okay, guys, I'm sending you loads of love and light wherever you are in this huge and vast planet Earth of ours, and I'll chat to you in another one of my videos or a reading. Salute and bye-bye.